Hello everyone, welcome to How to Code If You Hate Coding. You're probably watching this video because you either have to take an introductory computer science course for your degree, you're interested in coding and you see people getting really successful and making a lot of money, but you don't really like it, or you have a project that you need to work on and you really need to learn how to do something, but you're like dreading it. So essentially what's happened is I got into coding a little about 2 years ago and I hated it. And the way that it happened was I heard about like learning how to program because they had computer science courses at my school. And so I would look at them and I think, no, I don't want to do this. I'd watch videos about it and I'd see that it was just a bunch of strings of text and it's just like a screen of black and like you see the hackers and they're like spamming away at the keyboard and they're changing something and breaking into the firewall. CSI Miami where it's enhance.
Can you enhance the image from here?
Can you enhance him right here?
Can you enhance it?
And honestly, when you look at that, that is, in my opinion, I didn't find that interesting. But I heard that it was important, so I decided to give coding a try. It started off with Scratch, and to be honest, learning how to use Scratch is actually a pretty fun experience. But Scratch is different from actual programming. I tried watching a Python tutorial, but at the time it was between grade 11 and 12, and I just didn't find it interesting at all. Fast forward to first year university, I have to take a programming for engineering course. And so, for context, I'm in mechanical engineering, so I'm not in that heavy of a computer science course load. So this first course that I took was actually a Python course, so just the fundamentals that someone learns in a programming course. And the way that it was taught to me, I did not care at all. Like, I really tried to be interested, but the way that it was explained to me felt like I was just forcing this information into my brain and like trying to regurgitate it into problems where I didn't know how to apply it. So I think kind of that's the biggest problem that I found with trying to learn computer science just as a basic is not finding the applications first and just focusing on the text and the language and like just understanding the basics is kind of the boring part. You need to have a vision of what you're working towards. One thing I got to make with that course was a plotter that you type in data points and it like tries and makes a curve of best fit. It's pretty mathy. That's what I'm saying. It's like a data analysis course. But I thought it was actually cool that I could start to visualize what I was working on for the first time. Then I took a C++ course in my second semester and I started to enjoy it a bit. Yeah, so like shocker, for the first time I actually liked coding just a little bit. I don't love it. I still do not love it. There are times where I really don't enjoy it, for context. But I started to enjoy it a bit more. So what changed was I started to see the applications of what I was actually working on immediately right there in that moment. The course we took was basically actually making robots move around and we were trying to figure out how we can make these robots do different tasks. Well, and the final project that my group decided to do was to make a whiteboard that could actually play the game Hangman with you. So we had to learn how to program that system so that it created the coordinates and drew out in response to whatever the user inputted. That would actually be my first point of how to get through programming and enjoy it just a little bit more. See your programming as a means to an end in your interest area. So it's still not my favorite thing in the world, but I can actually see what it would get me, and I want to be able to make a little robot move that plays white hangman with you. So okay, I can see the incentive behind it, and it's just a tool to get there, not the project itself. The second thing that got me more interested is seeing some of like the insane projects that people work on that take these skills, and it really makes you appreciate it a bit more. Sure, there's robotics, but there's like climate modeling that's helping us better understand how the climate works. There's drug discovery that's that's validating new types of drugs. There's material science research and like all this machine learning stuff that's going on. I was like, this is so cool. When I changed this mindset a bit, I went out of my way and saw if there were any clubs that would be interested because maybe I'd want to learn it a bit more. And I saw that there was this team at my university that was trying to make a machine learning model to help better predict glucose patterns for diabetes treatment. I've worked a lot in the diabetes space from advocacy, but also from the technology point. I thought that was a super cool project. And when I actually got to speak with like the PhD candidate that was working on it, I could see how this would be so helpful. And I was like, man, I kind of want to get involved in this. So I spent most of first year on that team and I didn't actually get that involved in like the technical side and I wasn't programming that much. So I think what was more important was seeing the applications of the programming and being able to picture how it could be important. So now that you've found an area that's interesting and you've actually found a reason why you should learn how to program and something that's kind of interesting to you, how do you go about doing it? So for someone like me, I'm a very visual person. And a lot of programming tutorials don't really suit that style of learning. It's the nature of the way it works. When you start off by programming, a lot of the concepts are focused on like strings and characters, so you're just looking at letters all the time on a black screen. And that could be a bit confusing for a lot of people. So instead of that regurgitating data stuff that I had in my first programming course, the second programming course was more interesting because I could actually visualize the response that was happening with the coding. So I would actually recommend robotics if that's like something you're into, or if you're in high school, like that's a cool project to work on. Uh, Something I would recommend for everyone who's learning how to program is flowcharts, in the sense that they help you visualize the actual processes that are happening in the code. So for me, programming felt like just a list of nonsense in a language that I couldn't read. But when you change it, it kind of just ends up being like an order and a specific ingredient list. So that's like a function, whatever, that's an ingredient. And you follow it in the correct way, doing the right steps, you're going to get a good result. And that's kind of like a recipe in a way. I like baking, so that was helpful to think about. And flowcharts help you visualize that a bit more. Still, programming, pretty boring at times. I still don't love it, but at least I can do it somewhat. And if you're just trying to pass a programming course, hopefully this advice helped you a bit. If you have a project that you're working on for the course, that's amazing. But if you don't have a specific project, I'd honestly say to just make one and learn the concepts along the way. Like, you'll have something to show by the end of it. And to be honest, it's pretty interesting. You can see the programmer eyes. Look at that. They don't let me outside. No grass is touched.